Hello, this is Senator Katie Fry Hester, and you are listening to the Conduit Street Podcast, the official podcast of the Maryland Association of Counties and your best source for Maryland politics and policy.
Welcome to the Conduit Street Podcast. My name is Shantelle Malcolm-Lym, and I'll be your host for today. Joining me are Karrington Anderson and Dominic Butchko, who spent the week in sessions and conversations across MACoCon. So now we're going to really dive into things. The 2026 Summer Conference is officially in the books, right, guys? County leaders, state officials, partners, exhibitors, and the like joined us in Ocean City for 4 days of conversation about what's happening in Maryland's counties, and appropriately enough, what we need to build what's next. But now that the exhibit hall is closed, sessions are over, we've had a few days to process everything that's happened. Now, I want to talk about what's really stuck with us, what we learned, which conversations followed us home from Ocean City. So let's dive in. And the first question I have for you guys, let's start with the bigger picture. What's the first issue, idea, or theme that really comes to mind when you think back on hashtag 2026 MACoCon?
I love the hashtags.
So I'll say the first thing that comes to mind is just exhaustion. So we are a mighty but small team. What do we have? Like 12 people full time, 10. Yeah. And then we have our awesome volunteers, shout out. And how can we not give a shout out to Virginia White? She just tells us where to show up. But really it is the member services team that puts all of this on. But MACoCon, man, I don't know what it is. I started 5 years ago, actually. My first day of the job was starting at the summer conference. So this is my sixth MACoCon. Oh my God. I am just dead inside after this one. I don't know what it was. All the content, all the people, but man, I am tired. Carrie, how are you feeling?
First of all, what a way to start for you. First day on MACo, I'm going to be at the MACo conference. I think that's a crazy way to start, but also you get fully immersed and kind of jump right in. So I can see the benefit of it. But I think this one for me, I think this was my third summer conference, and this just felt very fast for me. I feel like sometimes it feels like we've been there a couple weeks. This one, just felt really quick for me. Left, very tired, but always have a lot of productive conversations, and good follow-ups always come from it with our people.
So I will say from a content perspective, I think our members really showed up in force to a lot of panels. I mean, I know it's a trope. So if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see in capital letters, I say standing room only. That's because all of my panels are always fabulous, winter or summer. But in this year in particular, we had a lot of packed rooms. More than usual, I would say. And if you just look at the Twitter pictures from me, from my colleagues, our folks really, really plugged in, and they usually do, but 3, 4, 5 panels that are just standing room only. I mean, I've never seen that much. So that was really good to see. I mean, we're clearly hitting a vein. I think the content, and we're in an election year, we're in a tough budget cycle. We got energy, we got environment, we have whatever the hell Carrie does. So, I mean, there's a lot of big stuff going on.
Yeah, I was going to mention election year, I think definitely plays a part, and they're just feeling like there's a lot of energy. You asked what I do. So I think for my end, a lot of AI conversations were happening at the conference. I think that's
I'm told that's important. Yeah, that's a big subject from what they tell me, the AI.
Important. Yeah. Well, I think there was probably at least 5 panels that focused on or at least highlighted AI in some way. Yeah. And that's not counting the solution showcases or any of the conversations that take place in our county professional meetings. So it was in different sections. It could be in HR, human services. So a lot of conversations on that. But I think for the most part, what kind of stuck with me is that for the most part, everyone has moved beyond the question of whether local governments should be thinking about AI. It's much more so, how do we actually use it and how do we do that responsibly? And I think that was kind of a theme in a lot of the panels that I was a part of.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially with the Tech Expo deep dive sessions, those focused quite a bit on how county governments can go about incorporating AI into their just day-to-day activities and things to be aware of and so on. I think, Karrington, those were your sessions as well. So I would say, Dom, that Karrington sessions were pretty popular.
Standing room only.
Standing room only.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I was in the most
You're too
popular
busy.
ones.
You're
Yeah.
too busy. Okay.
So I think one thing on that, so one of the sessions that I was in, it was to bot or not to bot. And it was a really practical conversation. It was talking about chatbots. What is a chatbot? How counties are using them. And I do think our summer conference also is a good opportunity to showcase really unique things that counties are doing. And Montgomery County was a panelist on this AI chatbot panel, and they use something called Monty. That's a chatbot that supports like more than 3,000 topics in over 100 languages. So just really cool for residents to be able to use that. It's really inclusive. They're doing a lot there. They're really kind of on the forefront with the confidentiality, like making sure they're not keeping that sensitive information. They're helping answer residents' questions. So I was, just really liked learning about that and think that a lot of counties are going to keep doing stuff like that.
Can I just say really quick? I think Shantelle, like you and I are like a year apart, less than a year apart. So you're probably old enough to remember this. Carrie, I don't know if you are, but when you said Monty, that brought me back to like the mid 2000s with Ask Jeeves, which was the predecessor to Ask.com. Yeah, with the little cartoon guy. Oh my God. And like no one could know how to spell Jeeves, so you would have to Google it. Like that, like the Monty thing just brought me back to my childhood.
I remember Ask Jeeves, and you had Ask.com, and I would be on those platforms all the time. Wow. Blast from the past. Thanks for that, Dom, showing our age on the podcast. So I just want to dive into our next topic real quick. You both had plenty of conversations outside of those sessions with county officials, other attendees throughout the week. What were you hearing when you talked to people, especially as it relates to MACoCon or things that counties are really concerned about? Was there a specific issue that kept coming up that you guys kept hearing about? And do you think that the conference kind of just addressed some of those concerns as well?
So I'll kick this one off. There are two things that, we really were, when we're building the conference, what's really hot in county land. And so you can see that kind of in the content we put. And so there's two things in my portfolio: data center and energy really broadly was huge. And then also housing. And so we had a number of sessions. We had a session on permitting. We had like a session just on data centers and AI. We had a session just on energy, but that kind of overlapped. We had a session dedicated to housing finance. Like we had a ton of stuff. And that dominates the conversation right now. You see that again when we're planning the conference, but this is what counties are talking about. This is the information that they're hungry and they're thirsty for. And you really just saw that, again, to go back to that standing room only joke in our energy panel, I let it run over by 20 minutes because there were just so many questions. Both of the panels, actually, one ran over by 15, one ran over by 20. Housing, same thing. We ran over a little bit for questions. So these are
Don't
just
let Virginia
issues.
hear that.
Yeah, seriously. Virginia, don't listen to this. We're going to bleep that part out.
Yeah. Dom, I think your issues like energy and housing, like those are things that like all of our counties want to talk about in sessions, but those are definitely like issues that are all of the hallway conversations, or like even departments are coming and like wanting to grab people. Like I think a lot of meetings happened with departments and counties like on those issues specifically.
Job security issues, my friend. Job security issues.
Yeah, and I think data centers is really hot stuff right now. So I imagine a lot of your outside conversations kind of centered around that as well.
I literally only have two things on my mind, and that's the energy questions and that's the housing questions. So what about you, Carrie?
Those aren't going away, especially the data centers. So, well, I think for mine, I have a bunch of variety of policy areas, and I think our affiliate meeting, so stepping away from like the actual panel sessions that we do at conference, MACo also has like our county professional groups and our affiliates. And so that could be HR directors, or that could be economic development directors from all of the different counties. They meet and they get to meet in person. And so I feel like a lot comes from those meetings, because like some of it's stuff that we expect, and then also like you just start hearing like, oh, this is a issue coming up in Queen Anne's County, and then like more counties kind of pile on that. And so I feel like we kind of hear and learn a lot from that. I know one issue that I wasn't surprised is hot and coming up, but because we're kind of getting into the implementation part of this, but Maryland's paid leave program, counties are an employer and also have to be a part of this, along with all the rest of the Maryland world. But a lot of upcoming dates are coming from that. So there's a lot of county questions. I left with like a ton of follow-ups that we're going to be doing and webinars that we're going to be hosting just to make sure all the counties are on the same page, want to take care of our employees, but we still have a lot of questions that state hasn't answered yet. So having to try to figure out those things, but all the paid leave stuff is coming up and it's on everybody's mind.
And Carrie, correct me if I'm wrong, but that family leave stuff, they've been kicking that deadline back for a while now, right? Like the implementation?
Yeah, it's been delayed a few times now. And I think we're probably, I mean, who knows? I don't think we're going to see it get delayed again. But like some of the applications, like people can register as an employer right now, and then you have to declare your intent, whether or not you want to do a private plan or a state plan this like September through November, I think. So I think we're kind of getting in prime time. And luckily, we're going to be a part of a collaborative. So it's going to be the counties, the cities and towns, the school boards, community colleges. So we're at least going to be kind of in it together because there's still, a lot of questions, but we're getting it.
Yeah, so that kind of brings me into something else that I wanted to address, Karrington. Would you say then that this is an example of a conversation that's coming home with us and potentially something that's going to bleed into the 2027 legislative session?
Yeah, so there's a lot of action items for counties, I think, leaving this conference. Like we have kind of a to-do list that we need to do, that they need to do to kind of make sure that everybody is in compliance. So yeah, I think I have a few conversations that are going to be coming home with us, but that is definitely one of them. I think another one that is on my mind is the Community Reinvestment and Repair Fund, which has to do with the cannabis dollars. Every county gets a certain amount of money for this that they're going to implement in their community. That has been an issue that's come up the past few sessions. And there are regulations now that are developed, and there are certain eligible uses, and counties really have a lot of questions with these too. And so I think we had a really productive conversation with the Department of Social and Economic Mobility, but I think we're going to have some follow-up conversations with them moving forward.
So I'll jump on that bandwagon with kind of what's coming home with us. So like to take a step back from that, the reason I love conference, and really like winter is my favorite, winter has my heart, but summer too.
Yes.
You just have everyone in the same place. And that is just awesome because I had so many meetings scheduled, like deputy secretaries, regular secretaries, that person from that nonprofit that you want to talk to. And you're just bouncing from reception to reception and you're like following people. I get so much work done when we are all in town. And people ask me, but Dom, aren't you in Annapolis and everyone's based in Annapolis? Less than you think in the interim. In the interim, everyone is not kind of, congregated in one necessarily city or one location. And like if you go to MACoCon in the summer, or like 10 times even better MACoCon in the winter, because we're all on the same campus then, all of those meetings that you want to have, like boom, 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 assistant secretary, lobbyist, whoever. And I just had a ton of those. I can tell you, the briefing room, little podcast, you probably heard of it. First reference of it in this one. We're going to have a ton of new episodes kind of coming out of conference, talking with different people. There's a lot of just policy stuff, infrastructure related stuff. I don't want to give away too much, but we were able to kind of get the gears turning, connect the dots where we wanted to. I just love that about conference. You get so much business done.
Yeah, it's just, can I borrow you just for a few minutes? Turns into like a 45-minute conversation.
45 minutes, an hour, yeah. And then you just get like pulled from thing to I love it. I love the energy. Like tag me in, coach. I'm ready to go.
No, it is like productive. You get a lot done. So it feels nice.
Karrington, I want to have a running bet with you to see how many more times Doms will mention the briefing room. My bet's on 3 more times.
Oh, you're underestimating him.
And if you haven't tuned in, new episodes are out on Tuesdays. The briefing room with Dom Butchko.
Is that 2? That's 2.
That's 2.
So Dom, I think you kind of touched on it, but specifically, what topics do you think are coming home with you outside of MACoCon?
Oh, I think the stuff that we already touched on is going to be huge. All of the stuff around data centers and energy and land use, I mean, that's just going to continue to be an evolving issue. The politics around data centers is fascinating. And you see that with the questions and with the attendance and just with the content. It's been an interesting transition because, a few years ago, it was this like brand new thing and the governor was getting behind it and counties were exploring it. And, now as the issue progresses and there's more pressure on our energy grid, you see a lot of counties hitting the pause button. You see the state considering hitting the pause button. So I think the questions around how do we tailor public policy around that? What are our neighbors doing? That'll be huge. I think housing is going to be really big. And the fascinating thing about housing is we're now like digging deep because there's not one silver bullet because there's all these threads causing all these problems. And so the conversations around finance in particular, I think are fascinating. Just a quick example, like Garrett County, like if we're going to go the most extreme, has absolutely no zoning except for Deep Creek. So if you eliminate zoning, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get all this housing popping up, and there's the infrastructure problems and there's the finance and the interest rates, et cetera. And so as we start to kind of move past that land use and talk about some of this other stuff and we dig into it, I mean, just as a policy guy, I love like digging in and getting into the weeds. And so we're seeing a lot of that. And if you like getting into the weeds, definitely check out the briefing room on Tuesdays.
That's 3. All right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Dom. I was surprised that you didn't plug the briefing room after every single topic that you mentioned. Like, because we know that there's the data center episode with Frederick County. You're doing the series right now on housing finance. Like, I'm just surprised you didn't talk about it so much more.
I didn't know I could, but I promise in the next 5 minutes of this pod, I will make up for it.
No, I think we're good. Shifting gears, guys, let's talk a little bit about your favorite MACoCon moments. I'm going to let Karrington go first here.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that we probably could say throughout the week, but I think over the past couple years, what I've really enjoyed, which has begun to be a tradition for us on Fridays. So it's the end of a packed conference week. There's really only one day left, and most of our MACo staff gathers, and we are joined by MACo alumni, like people that used to work at MACo and are still kind of in the world. And we eat pizza, we play games, and really just hang out together before that last day of the conference. Just really an enjoyable time. It's good team bonding, and I do actually think it helps us be more successful. So I've really, really enjoyed that.
I have to say that's my favorite moment too. And it kind of just organically popped up over the past few years. And one of my favorite parts about the post crab feast game is just how bad Karrington is at playing cards.
Here we go.
I'm on Karrington's side here. Anything Dom says, it's questionable at this point.
I don't know, Shantelle. You were like, before we started recording, you're like, I don't know, I've never been to this game thing.
I know for me, I can say that my favorite MACoCon moment was actually just seeing the whole thing come together. Yep. It's like Dom said in the beginning, we're a small team, but really just watching day by day how things just kind of flow and come together and just work. I think there's no better feeling. Like on a Saturday when you're done and you look back and you're just like, wow, we did this thing and it was a success. I think that that's perhaps my favorite MACoCon moment.
Yeah, I think especially that would be true for member services, just because you guys go above and beyond and spend like months and months and months into this conference. So I could definitely see that, being that wrap up moment for you guys.
Oh, the logistics is just absolutely insane. And I mean, I don't think we can just give enough praise to the member services team because they have to deal with the event space and the food and the people and the tickets and the money and everything else. And really, we just put together some panels and, show up and smile when you tell us to. So you guys really round of applause to Virginia White, Shantelle, everyone else on the member services team. I have to say Sophia. Sophia would be so mad if I did not give her and everyone else on that team, because seriously, you guys are the ones that actually make the show happen. We're just the pretty people that show up when you tell us to.
Well, I guess, guys, if it's one thing that's clear after MACoCon is that a lot of these conversations are just getting started. We'll be following what comes next throughout the fall into MACo's legislative planning and eventually into the 2027 General Assembly session. And you can keep up with all of that on the Conduit Street blog and right here on the Conduit Street podcast. So I think I'm going to wrap things up right there.
And don't forget about the briefing rooms. New episodes out on Tuesdays, number 5.
Thank you, Dom. Karrington, thanks for helping us unpack everything that we heard in Ocean City. And to everyone who joined us at MACoCon, thank you for helping us build what's next. We'll see you next week on the Conduit Street Podcast.